and welcome back in my studio. In today's Advent calendar lesson we will draw a candle. I really enjoyed drawing this flame with the warm colors around and the red candle. You can use it for blending practice and for using your softer pastel pencils. This was a nice fun experimentation, and you can create Christmas gifts, cards, prints, whatever you would use these little cards for. So let's dive into this fun lesson today. Okay, let's draw here now a Christmas candle with some decoration. So let's sketch in here first the candle. Make a line downwards and then a parallel line on the right, wherever you would like to place your candle on your paper. And then make here so an oval round line, not a circle, but this ellipse. Here, place it here on top. And maybe add then also in the same round line a line below, or we put a decoration over it. And then add here the flame. I will here draw some leaves of the holy berries, so a branch with holy berries. They have so zigzag leaves. Make here one, and maybe then another one here to the right. And another one so downwards. And some berries here in the middle. And then let's add some branches of fir branches or pine branches here. Maybe here one. I sketch that in very roughly, just to have them a bit in place, maybe with a brown. With a brown here for the wooden part, and one here. And then we have to add then here the needles. Just sketch it in very roughly. Yes, and maybe some other decorations, so some little branches with berries on it. You know, there are so many Christmas and Advent decorations you can use in your room. And to make that here so a little bit interesting, I just add some of them to make it a more beautiful drawing. And add here some of these little berries on that branch. And also here some. Okay, and then let's draw it. So just sketch it in very simple. Let's start then with the flame. I make it here really bright. Let's start with the white. You can always go over with yellow and brighten up the flame. Let's also add here below a bit of a reflection. And then go in with the lighter yellow at the bottom here. And make it a bit yellowish. Let's add here black for the make the wick here, the candle wick, a little bit black, but we could also bring in a bit red brown to make that a little bit warmer here, and add a bit, let's say, orange here on top, where in the middle of the flame, and a bit red because I want also to make the candle red. Add here a bit of a warmer color around. Yes, and then I plot in here a bit orange. I would like to make the candle red, and here a bit lighter on top. Here it can be lighter on top. Go a bit over the light reflection here, and add a bit more of such an orange red here in the edges. Make it here a bit darker, and in the middle where the reflections are, it can be lighter. I go over again with the orange here in the middle, or use a light yellow here a bit. Swipe over. Can of course also be a bit sharper to add some lines and strokes. Maybe here make it so a little bit stretchy with lines, not so smooth. That does also look nice. And brighten up here this middle part, and add a bit of a highlight here behind the candle on that edge. You can also go over then with white and brighten here the highlight up a little bit. Just add here in the wax a little bit of a lighter area. And I brighten up once more the flame and color it a little bit yellowish. So it can be yellow, light yellow. Okay, and then I draw a red candle. Plot in the middle red here, downwards. I plot it in, so downwards, and fill out the candle area here with the light red. Make it very simple, not too complicated. It's not overall realistic, but yes, I want to let it be realistic but also faster. So then let's blend that with a paper stamp. I have a bit of darker pigment here on the paper stamp. In that case, that I make the lower part of the candle darker anyways, it does not matter, but be careful that you don't apply too much dark pigment if you would like to keep it light. Then I add a bit of a violet red in the lower area here. So I go over here very gently. The red from the underpainting can just shine through, so I swipe over a little bit with that violet red and darken down the lower part and also the right part of the candle. Here is coming light from the back side a bit. It can then again be a bit brighter, but here in the middle it's darker. So I add here the darker color a bit. Add as much pigment as you would like to darken it down. Also here below I make it darker, where then here these leaves are overlapping, or near the bottom. Bring in some darker color. We can then use a bit orange and brighten it up here above. there is also light around that candle, maybe another candle behind, and then we have so beautiful reflections on the candle. Maybe here is a light source on the left. So let's bring in here also a bit yellow as highlights on the left, just in strokes. I blotted in here a bit, so like highlights, but in strokes downwards, and go then also over with a bit white really on the left here. And we can also bring in a little bit more shadow by mixing in a little bit of a black color here in that darker area, or also here below it can be then darker red. Mix black and red here together, and then I use a paper stamp and blend over it carefully to mix the layer below and the layer above together and make it a bit smoother. Mix the layers together gently. You can also let it look painterly, so however you like it. I make it a little bit smoother. Then let's take a dark red. I have here the dark red from the Pitt pastel pencils, and also swipe over a little bit. Add another layer with the dark red and use it also for blending. Add here some dark red little lines. Also add a bit shadow here above, below, in the low upper area of the candle. You could also make it here inside a little bit darker. And then we add here in the inner area a little bit shadow, left and right. Okay. Yes, and so we have here a nice red candle with some reflections on it. Let's also then put in a bit of a background in orange and red tones. I do it with the soft pastel sticks here to keep that simple and quick. You can also plot in your pencils, so that you can use the pencils. I use a brilliant orange here, a little bit in the back, not too much. A little bit here. Plot in a little bit of a brilliant orange from the Sennelier pastel sticks. They are so really, really soft. And add a bit of red too. Here I have the Rembrandt stick and plot in a little bit of red here around, but I would also bring in some gold color again, make it warm around the candle. Here I am careful near the area I have already drawn. Bring in here a bit gold. Maybe let's brighten up the area behind the candle, behind the flame, with a white. Put in here a bit of that gold. This is really a very soft pastel stick. Let's also plot it in here in the front, at the bottom a bit. Plotting in here a bit of the gold color. It's a warm yellow ochre. And take the white a bit around our candle. Make that here brighter. Plot in a bit white here around. And then let's take either a cotton swab or these blending tools. These soft tools. I have here already one with a bit of golden pigment on it, so I take that one. And let's use it here for blending over. I'll take the other edge. So blend over it. They work really well. They are called soft. I think there are also reproductions available, but these are soft. They are called soft with 2F. And you can use them really well for blending here the soft pastel pigment wherever you would like to have it. You can use the corners, the edges. Let's also blend it here where the branches then should be. I blended a bit over them because we will draw them then later. Blend here the pigment also between the little branch of the berries here a bit. I use the front part of this soft tool and use it here for just as painting with the pigment and blend it all over. You can use that really nice for painting with the pastel pigment here, bringing the color wherever you would like to have it. Here I move it a little bit upwards and downwards. Be careful around your candle. Here I also mix it together with the white. Here it could be brighter. I move it here in circles to blend the white together with the white. Here I have added the white first. That was the better decision to have a brighter underpainting. We will make that even more brighter then with another layer. Here I've added the red and the orange. I mix them here directly on the paper and blend it a little bit downwards and up in the corners. Also here, blend over it. Move the pencils, not the pencil, the blending tool in circles over it. Then let's add another layer with white. Here around our candle, I want to create here a bit of a shine, a glance around our candle here behind. And use the tool to, maybe I use the other side. And blend over here carefully and create so a nice blurry background behind the candle that is lighter. If necessary, add another layer of white or add a layer of cream, so you can also go over with an ivory and use ivory here. I have here the Rembrandt. They are not so soft like the Sennelier, and just so swipe over it and create a bit of a shine here around our candle. And use the blending tool again carefully. We could also blend it with a cotton swab, so that you use a cotton swab very gently. But if the layers are mixing up too much, you can just go over with the fingers and make it soft. Sometimes fingers are also working. Then I add another layer with Rembrandt ivory, that it is really also so brilliant light around the flame. Just bringing another layer of ivory here around and blend it then again with the finger a bit, so upwards or leftwards. Maybe I add here a bit more pigment and then blend it here, so a bit towards the edges. We could also go over here a little bit with a lighter color and blend it in, or add here a bit of a lighter color and blend it. You can blend it with the soft tools and make it even softer. here. Play a bit with the blending tools you have. Here I blended a little bit more, so together with the pigment here below. Okay, then I go over once more here with the red and correct the outlines of my candle. When you have added a background, make sure that you don't have drawn too much over your subject. You can also go over with the white again over the flame here. We could also add with an orange ochre here a little bit of a contrast around the flame. Very gently, that it is a little bit darker around the flame, just that we see it here better. And move here it's the burnt ochre also around in little circles, bringing here a bit of a darker part around the flame, and then the shine here starts. Okay, and then let's draw these branches and the leaves around. Let's take an brown, so I take a brown for the middle parts here on our fir branches. I add also here one, and here the next one, and then take a dark green, a pine green, and add some crossing needles, leaves here. They don't have to be all parallel, let them overlap a little bit. Let's add some shorter ones here on top, but then also some longer ones again are crossing, so that you make them look a little bit like a real branch. We don't do it too detailed here, but just to let the lines cross a little bit. It always makes it more realistic. Make them darker in the middle, let them grow out directly on the stem here, or the middle branch. Yes, so let's also add here below on that one right away some crossing green and needles of that fir branch here. Let them cross and overlap and go to the left here. Draw them over the paper edge, and let's do the same then here. Make it the green more dense here near the candle. We can make it here really a bit more green, and then draw them here upwards, rightwards. So here for that we can use the little bit more softer capitellos really well to create a bit broader lines. Here it then goes quicker and faster for these Christmas paintings here. You can also draw a very realistic candle, but to use them just for fun or to create some Christmas cards, it's also sometimes useful just to paint a little bit faster and also make it a little bit realistically. Then I go also in with a black a little bit, so near our candle. Here I've overdrawn a part of the candle, be careful. Here we see a bit candle going downwards. Here I add a bit red, so really make sure what is overlapping the candle, and these branches are behind it. And then I add also a little bit black between the green parts here, also near the brown stem it can be a bit darker, so I add here a bit black around the candle here and add a bit contrast. And also in the branch itself. We can also go in a bit with the black, and then we have here more depth in there. Draw some black lines between the green ones. So here I go over once more. And then bring in lighter green tones. So go in with a middle green then. Here, add some middle green, little, so needles or fir leaves. And also here, make these branches more dense. Let some more here overlap. And then I go in also with either a lighter green or take a bit of a mint color, or in that case I think I choose a lighter green. We have here so many warm tones in the picture, not blues. Then it's better to use a light green for highlights and not the mint or a bluish green. Let's go with some warm colors in that painting here. Just add some highlights here, some strokes on top here with a lighter green, and then also go in with a light yellow, with a vanilla yellow, for really brilliant reflected highlights. You can let them here so go upwards, or make the ends of the light green needles a bit lighter, or just add some yellow strokes here on top. Also here below, let's add with a lighter yellow some highlights. They are reflected by all the candle lights. Near the candle it can be darker. Maybe I go over with the brown again and add a bit more of these brown middle part here, that we see it a little bit. Okay. Then let's also draw these leaves here in the middle. There I would say let's bring in a dark green here below. Add dark green at the lower part and a bit light green on top. Here I plot in a little bit of the dark green. In the middle, where they are here coming out, they are always darker. Draw here some wavy lines. They are easy to draw. Make some wavy lines. And create a bit shadow around the berries here in the middle. And then use another green tone. Let's use a middle green, or a bit of a lighter green for the front parts, or the upper parts. Near the upper part, near the candle. Just plot in a little bit of the lighter green and mix the colors. At the lower edge, let's take the dark green again. So I'm sharpening the green and plot in a little bit more dark green here on the lower parts, and mix the green tones together. Don't make it too complicated. You can create a blurry look. And add with a lighter color some of these veins with a light yellow here. Maybe let's also add some middle veins. the green, a little bit more green color here. I draw again around the edges. We can also use a bit black. Let's add a bit black at the lower part below these veins in the middle. Maybe also darken down the lower parts of our leaves, or what we should do is add a bit shadow below them. They are a little bit in the air, so light can shine through them, but I add here a little bit black shadow. Here is no light behind. Here there is coming a bit light here below that leaf. So plot in here a little bit black below them. We always need a bit shadow here below our subjects to make it look like a bit more realistic. You could also mix in a bit brown here. Does not have to be too dark. We can also bring in a bit brown to create here a bit shadow. Or we can also bring in a bit red of the candle here in front and mix in a bit red that we have here, a bit red also on the place here in front of our candle. Maybe let's work a bit more on our leaves. So go in with the black again. Here below the middle vein I wanted to add also a little bit more black, and you can also add black lines below or on the right side of these side veins to give it a more realistic look. Add straight outlines here with the black. Also add a bit shadow here behind. And here we have also a bit shadow between the berries. Yes, and here where, let's also here where we have the lower part of the candle, let's add then here some grasses and a bit shadow below. In front of the candle, and here then. So here we can add with the green some grasses here or so that are coming here out below the candle, that it is placed here also on some Christmas decoration. Maybe add with the yellow some highlights on top. Mix in here a bit yellow. We can also use the lighter yellow, for example, brightening up the front part of these leaves here a bit. Maybe adding a bit of a highlight here on the edges. Let's also brightening up the upper part of that leaf a little bit, make it a bit lighter with the yellow. Let's add here a bit of a shine on top. Let's also add here a bit of a shine on top. Brighten up the upper part, mix in some different green tones. You can brighten up some darker green here with the yellow and play a bit with your pastels. You can mix and blend them so beautifully together. Okay, we could also maybe add a bit of an orange tone on top of these leaves to make it so a bit that the reds of the candle are reflecting, so a bit downwards We can blot in a little bit orange here too. Okay, so I make with the black here the lower part of the candle maybe a little bit darker. Create shadow below it. So maybe make the candle also, I have it here now so straight. I have said you at the beginning, make it also round at the bottom, and now I have a straight line. That does not look realistic, so make it round when you see the lower part of your candle at the bottom here. Draw the line a little bit downwards like you have it here above, that it looks more realistic. Yes, draw the lines a bit round downwards and then add here the shadow below. Or I add here some crossing grasses out below. They can also go in different directions for sure and cross, and are always darker near the subject. There is also a bit shadow in there. Okay, then let's draw these red berries. Let's use a middle red and plot that in here on these round berries here. Let's also add here one. And also here we have these holy berries in the middle. Plot in here the red. I also add here one on top. So go over with the pencil and plot in red. And then darken them down with a darker red or a violet red here on the right. Bring in a bit shadow on the right side on them. Mine berries are not really round here. They are a little bit so oblong. Plot in a little bit darker red and also a little bit black. Mix in a little bit black to increase the contrast, that you have shadow on the right. You can also use a paper stamp for blending over if you would like to blend here the middle part together with the left and the right. And then go all over with the white and add highlights on the left side and on the upper side. So add a brilliant white reflection here, or you could also add a yellow. Bringing here the white on the left side. Blend it a bit together. Always add highlight in the direction where the light is coming from, here on top. And we also need a brown branch. Add one here in the middle, and so smaller side branches with thin lines. Use little pressure for the thinner lines, and for the middle part you can press a little bit more. It's always so a pressure theme. Then on the stem also add shadow on the right, so also make that more 3D. So add black here below, a very thin line on the right. You can move the pencil in that case. You need a pencil upwards and downwards a bit, and add at the lower part and on the right side a bit shadow here on your branch here. This was now really a bit broad, so I go over a bit with the golden ochre and correct that a bit. So you can use a pencil in the color of your background and also make these shadow lines a little bit thinner, or blend over and make them a little bit softer. And then also add here some light reflections on top of that branch, or in direction of the light to the left, and add some light reflections. I also take here a yellow to give that berries a warmer look. You can also go in on the highlights a bit with a yellow. Whoops, I pressed a bit much, and then a couple of yellows break so easily. Go over on top, make sure that you don't have a red outline. The yellow or the highlight should be the upper part. Could also add some little dots. Yes, and so add some more lighter yellow highlights. I add here also so little black little details on top. Yes, and over the yellow you could even go and add with white some more brilliant highlights, or little white dots on top here, for example. So little dots and highlights, and even make it a bit more sparkling. Yes. Then let's do here the same with bringing in a bit of a shadow at the lower part with a darker red, with a violet red. This is a darker red. Add here at the lower areas a bit shadow, and go in between these little berries here with a black. Add shadow between them. I'm gonna make them a bit rounder. Go over the lower parts and make the lower parts here darker. We can also add here so black little dots on them, and then take a lighter red to brighten up here the upper part a bit. Can also correct shape with the lighter red, and add then also with a yellow highlights here above, or add then also with white some brilliant little highlight dots. I turn the white here so from the left to the right, and also press a bit more and bring in some highlights. You can darken down the part below or around these little berries here, make the leaves darker where they are here coming out below the berries, that we increase here the contrast a bit. Yes. Okay, then we have here another one. So let's add with the dark red on the lower side a bit shadow. In that case here, let's also with a darker red add a bit shadow on the ground. They are a little bit in the air, but we also need here a bit shadow on the table or wherever our decoration is. So let's add here a bit dark red too, here behind them, and a little bit in front of them. And on the lower side of these little berries, bring in the darks. This one here I brighten up with a lighter red on top, that we see it better. And then go over also with some yellows on top. Add some little dots with yellow or a bow. However you would like to add your little highlight on top. Some little dots. And I also add here some little black parts. And a bit more light reflections here on top. bringing in a bit white here on top. And then also add a brown for the stem. So I add here one and then go over here a thinner one and here another one and here also one to that. And add a bit black at the lower area. So always bring in shadow at the lower part. Here we can darken down the whole part between. Add shadow the lower part of this branch or stem, and add with the white on top a highlight with a little pressure. Add here also some more white dots, or you can also go in with the red again if your highlights are too large. Then let's go in with the black a little bit here below in these shadow parts. Add here around this berry more shadow. And we have then here the lower shadow. Also here we have some shadows below the leaves. And here is a bit light shining coming here behind the leaves. I make the leaf a bit darker. And here light is shining a little bit through below the leaf. There we can bring in a little bit of orange color. Okay, maybe let's add a little bit of more. So I add here, swipe over a little bit with the ivory and bring in maybe here in front a little bit of a lighter color on the table, so a bit of a shine. Move it so forwards and backwards a bit, add so little strokes, or go in maybe with a lighter ochre. And also add some strokes a bit from the left to the right. Just bring in a bit of a wooden structure here. Go in again with an ivory pencil. Add here with a little pressure a little bit, so a shine ivory. Just that it's not only a boring one color desk, just that we bring in some details here, moving the pencil so forwards and backwards. Maybe I also swipe over here with the pencil and add a bit more shine here around the candle, here with a little pressure. I do that with the pencil to add a bit more glow, maybe so upwards, rightwards, or between our little berries here. So that we blend here the red with the shine around the candle a bit more together. The candle. I'll also add here a little bit of ivory. Here you can play a bit around how you would like to create that. I also add here downwards a little bit more of the ivory color, or create softer, smoother transitions. That it's not just so a one golden colored background. Just add a bit more, play a bit with your colors you have, or add here some more ivory. You can also move the pencil forwards and backwards, or in circles, however you would like to have it. We could also take a red, maybe bring in with very little pressure also the red shine a little bit here into the background here around our berries. Make it very warm also, so in the back side of our candle. That's so nice. You can blend the colors here nicely together. You can also use the red for blending a bit over the shadow behind our grass or our fir branches here, the evergreen branches. Bring in here a bit red. Here you can also blend over it with the red a bit. You can use your pencils also for blending. Add here a bit of the red. You can also add red a bit in the foreground here, so very gently. I also add a bit red here then in the background on the left. Okay, maybe I go in here once more with the green. For sure, you can always correct also your fir grass here, your fir branches, your evergreen branches. Add here and there a bit more details you would like to have. Or I add here some lighter overlapping grasses. Go over with the yellow. Okay, maybe I add here below a little bit of the red on the candle too, here in the lower part. Brighten it up a little bit. And maybe add with ivory a little bit more highlights here on the candle. Blend it a bit with the pencil itself. You can then go in again with the red and darken it down again if you don't like it. Okay, then let's sign it here, and then I say that our drawing study of a candle is finished. Okay, so how did you like to draw a candle? It's a typically Christmas topic, so I thought that is fun to do. If you like these advent calendar lessons, then come back tomorrow, hit the bell and subscribe to my channel that you get notifications. Here you can join on the waitlist to my membership Animal Art Club. And here is another drawing lesson. Watch it and draw it. See you soon. Bye!